Fording a river, stocking up on supplies, and fixing a broken wagon. Children of the 70s and 80s will never forget the Oregon Trail. The iconic educational game shaped many school kids across the country. But did you know that the trail got its start in our state? In this week's Finding Minnesota, John Lauritsen talked with an Eden Prairie man who helped start it, all while helping computer giant Apple get off the ground.
The Oregon Trail. You may travel the trail, absolutely.
We all have childhood memories of elementary school.
It is 102 miles to the Kansas River crossing.
One in particular involves playing a computer game.
And here we go.
That attempted
Let's boogie.
to take us down the right path.
So far, so good, huh?
It was a phenom all of its own.
This is how they did weather reports back in the day. Severe blizzard, lose one day.
It had its own following, and the following, of course, now is people your age or even my age.
Before Dale of Friends talks about buying supplies at Matt's General Store or visiting Chimney Rock, he needs to talk about how educational computing got its start.
This is the primitive age of computers.
We're the first ones to do that, yeah.
In the early 70s, tiny iPads weren't even a dream yet. Instead, computers were so big they could take up entire buildings. Schools connected to these mega computers by telephone lines through a process called time sharing, and students learned on teletypewriters.
And all of a sudden we have this thing called MEC, which was funded by the state legislature at $3 million.
MEC, also known as the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium, helped schools gain access to megacomputers, and Dale was at the forefront. Then he got word that two men known as the Steves had developed microcomputers that could help spread MEC's educational tools a lot faster. Their names, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
They had nothing going. They were selling their computers at the street, on the street fair. So we did a lot of time with Steve and Steve. We had a lot of time with all the people who ran Apple and made Apple great.
Part of Apple's long road to greatness leads back to the Oregon Trail. When the two companies partnered, Apple computers ended up in Minnesota schools, and MEC's games were on their screens.
Oh, for sure.
A history teacher named Don Rowich and his friends invented Oregon Trail, and when he went to work for MEC, Dale helped push the wagon forward.
Did you guys have any idea that it would be as popular as it became?
You know, I think we were kind of oblivious to that. We were just nose down, grind this thing out. We're going to make this thing work.
The appeal for children of the 70s, 80s, and even 90s was that they were in control of the game.
Susie.
Picking which avatar they wanted to be.
Farmer from Illinois. There we go.
And then trying to avoid such things as cholera and dysentery.
Oh, I got him.
While hunting for food, crossing rivers, and fixing broken wagons. Even today, people still talk about the iconic game at dinner parties.
Dale will probably ask if they, do you know Oregon Trail? Oh, Oregon Trail. And, you know, the next thing we know, they're on the phone calling. Guess what? We are talking to somebody who knows all about the Oregon Trail.
Much like surviving a hazardous cross-country trek, the game's popularity has survived the test of time, or rate of change as some call it. From paper tape fed into a computer, to floppy disks, CDs, and now the internet. All along, the real mission of the Oregon Trail was to engage kids across the country. And it's safe to say, it successfully reached its destination.
We're all about kids. We continue to focus on kids. We want kids to have a good learning experience.
In Eden Prairie, John Lauritsen.
Oregon Trail always came with a great soundtrack.
WCCO 4 News.
A great trip down memory lane. Thank you, John. Dale now has a new company called Real. It specializes in interactive games that help students understand the effects of vaping and smoking. So he's still hard at it.